Okie dokie. You guys know this nigun from Rav Shalom brought that I think I've sung before. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. You ever teach you that one? Rav Shalom brought Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. 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 Boyu lefanav b'ye'ana. Boyu lefanav b'nana. Boyu lefanav b'ye'ana. Boyu lefanav b'nana. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. Oy bo lefanav b'ye'ana. Boyu lefanav b'nana. Oy bo lefanav b'ye'ana. Boyu lefanav b'nana. Hey, bam ba da dum bam bam ba, bam ba da dum bam bam, bam ba da dum bam bam, bam ba da dum bam bam, bam ba da dum bam bam ba, bam 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 ba. Ay 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 la 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 la. Bam ba da dum bam ba. Ay la 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 la. Ay 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 la la la. Bam ba da dum bam bam bam, ba da dum bam bam, bam bam bam. Yeshua. Bam ba da dum bam bam, bam ba da dum bam bam, bam bam bam. Ay ba dum bam bam, bam bam bam, bam 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 bam, bam ba da dum bam bam. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la, ba da dum bam bam. Ay la 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 la. Right, today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi David Zeller, and it's the 12th yahrzeit of Rabbi David Zeller. But we've mentioned him every year on the yahrzeit. We try to make sure that we learn Leilui Nishmato, and I'm so thankful. I'm eternally thankful for the zchut I had to know him. He lived here in Efrat, and there's a book that he wrote about his life called, I think it's called The Soul of the Story. Highly recommended. David traveled all over the world, and he was very close to a lot of very high people in India, in other religions, and also in Eretz Yisrael as well. And he was a pioneer. He began the Happy Minyan year in Efrat, Shirat Shlomo, and it was a big zchut to know him. He had a big hashpah in my life, because as a kid, when I was living in Los Angeles, he'd come out there all the time, because his mother, he's from LA, and his mother used to live, his mother, I don't think she's alive anymore. She lived in Los Angeles, and he'd come out a lot. I was a teenager, and I wanted so badly to connect to the older Shlomo Chaver. He was the only one that was really coming out a lot. And we had a big hashpah in my life, and I wanted to learn today Leilui Nishmasa. Whoever needs pages, we have over here. We have printouts, and it's really chashuv to see it inside, like we always say. And we're going to continue today with Rav Kluger's ma'amar about Simchat Chayim. This is actually the last piece, towards the end of this beautiful ma'amar. You know, Simcha, I wanted to sing Ivdu Hashem b'simcha, because Simcha is like a thing that we think that if we're feeling it, it's a luxury. But it's not anything that needs to be like an important, like I must have this. If I have Simcha, it's nice. If I don't have it, I must have been doing something wrong or whatnot. Bichlal, our approach to Simcha is not such a serious one. It's not such a serious one. Well, what's a serious thing that we? What do we approach in a serious manner in Yiddishkeit? What are some of the things we approach it seriously? That you wouldn't put Simcha in the same category.
Shabbos.
Absolutely. Maud.
Kashrut.
Yeah. What else? Daven. Alavai, yeah.
But you, yes, I'm saying like davening. He said, what else? Our beards, very serious. What else? Yossi Shkoyach, by the way. Shalom Bayis. We're
So
good.
far,
Okay, so okay. Simcha, do we take Simcha seriously? We probably don't, but it's because we don't really understand what we're saying when we're talking about how important Simcha really is. That's the truth. Rav Kluger is going to show us, and he's been showing us until now, that the reason that we don't really know or understand how to relate to Simcha is because of the Churban Abayit. It's because there's no Beit HaMikdash. This is the one thing that due to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, we don't really know how to relate to the concept of Simcha. We don't know how to relate to it in a healthy manner. That's what he was building up the last few weeks. So now we're going to start from the top of Kuf Yud Chet and see where he takes it from here. Nimtza behagdara ktsara. It's the first page on the photocopies that I just handed out. Nimtza behagdara ktsara ki simchat chayim hi Hashem hanosaf legeula ubinyan hamikdash. So he's saying, let's just sum up everything we said right now, until now. When we say concepts of simchas chayim, that means the spark of life, the zetz of life, the feeling of being happy that you're alive. Let's just call it its other name. What's its other name? Geula. Let's just call it what its other name is. It's called Geula. It's called redemption. And what's the other word what's the other phrase that you could substitute for Simchat Chayim? Binyan HaMikdash. We've seen that. It's if we don't really understand that, we got to do Chazar on the previous Shiurim. He's saying Simchat Chayim means redemption, and it means Binyan HaMikdash. Hefich Simchat HaChayim, the opposite of Simchas Chayim, hu bitui lechurban ulegalut, which is what many of us are stuck in. Destruction and exile. Im Yehudi savur שכדי להיות שלם לבוראו, עליו להיות כתות וכמות וחסר חדווה, הרי זו הסתכלות של גלות מרה. This is very deep. He said, if a Jew thinks that in order to be shalem to your Creator, that you need to be katut vekamut, that means crushed and crumbled. And chaser chedva means lacking. Chedva would mean here just like joy. That's a bitter outlook on life. That's a bitter outlook on the Ribono Shel Olam, on how the Ribono Shel Olam, what he expects from you. Now, what do you think he's really saying over here? There's this concept, there's this mindset that says that in order to really be shalom with God, I have to show him how nevach I feel about myself.
Anybody who runs around life going shli'ta is just off the page.
Well, say it in English.
Anybody who runs like it's hard to be a Jew, right? And idealizes that in any way.
Right. It's one thing to say it, but to idealize it is something else. I was at Bibi's two grandsons' brisses. Bibi Netanyahu, because remember Bibi's daughter, from his first marriage, was married to a good friend of ours. So we went to the first two bris, the two britot of our good friend Danny Roth. Danny married Noah, and Danny and Noah have now 4 children, but Danny had the first two britot, and Bibi was sandak, I think, at the first one. Yeah, Bibi was the sandak at the first one. It was in the Luri's house in Katamon. And it was a whole scene to get in there for the bris. You could just imagine. Babina and I were there, and Bibi was holding his grandson, and Rabbi Lau was there, I think, saying the brachas. Actually, Bibi's father, Ben Sion, Netanyahu, was still alive. He was still alive. Bibi's holding the son, and whatever his name is, and the second that he had a bris, so the kid starts, normally, obviously crying. So Bibi looks at everyone and he starts laughing. He says, "Ze ma shenikra lo kal liot Yehudi." That's what he said. That's what he said right away, right? This is what people say. It's not easy being a Jew, huh? So that's like a funny, cute thing, and it's true, and we have that from the age of 8 days old. However, this is the Indian. That's not ideal. Meaning, it's not like we say, this is what it's supposed to be like. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. To me, it'd be much harder not being a Jew. I don't know. That's how I imagine my life, right? But it's not, he's saying there's a galut mentality that says you're supposed to idealize the concept of looking like a shlump. And Rav Kook says in Ma'amar Hador, this is the reason why that new generation of chalutzim had to shed themselves from any memory of Yiddishkeit that they knew from the shtetl, because to them it didn't go together. They couldn't be here and be religious while they're being happy pioneers, because it doesn't go together. It's a stir minei ubei. It contradicts itself. And Rav Kook is screaming at the world and saying, do you think these guys are rebelling against God? These kids are rebelling against your perverted concept of what the ideal Jew should look like, and how the ideal Jew should experience a relationship with Hashem. Not mekumat and katut, not crushed like olives and katut and mekumat and wrinkled. That's not what it's supposed to be like. But Rav Kook says that's galut. That's a galut mentality. Continue back inside. Biyoto ro'eh Yehudi sameach v'tov lev, merutze mi'etzem metziut chayav, u'maleh alizut shel emunah shorshit. Let's say you're walking down the street and you see a Jew that's happy, goodness of his heart. It looks like he's really merutze. He's satisfied and happy with his deal, with his bag, with the metziut of his life. And he's filled with this happiness that comes from emunah shorshit, just from basic, rooted emunah. Niret lo zo kehanaga shel kalut lelo ol. What does it seem? What does it look like in the eyes of the other kind of Jew? That this Jew is lacking a key word here. And the key word that Rav Kluger says over here is we need to understand for the rest of this ma'amar. Did anyone notice what word Rav Kook says this? It looks like the Jew is lacking, the guy that's really happy. Ol. What's ol? Yoke. No, but I like Binyamin's Perush better. Binyamin didn't. For those that are going to listen to us afterwards, Binyamin took his hands and just went forward like this. Ol means yalla zemasa. It's a load. It's a load. Now, because the Megillus mentality says if you're smiling, it means you didn't take you have no connection to the ol, to the yoke. You didn't take the yoke upon yourself. Why? Because if you're carrying this load called Yiddishkeit, you wouldn't be smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Yishai Fleischer. Are you a Kabbalat ol Yid? Why are you smiling? You do not look like a Kabbalat ol Yid. I'm sorry.
Ol's great. Because if you don't have an ol, you have no purpose. You're like think of an animal in the field. It's like it doesn't have an ol. It's just grazing doing nothing. It's got an ol. It's got get stuff done. That's the happiest thing.
But they think the way that you get something done is only through that. All means that I get stuff done, but it looks like I can't look like it gives me Simchas Chayim. Afuch, the soter, it contradicts it. It doesn't give me Simchat Chayim. Like how many people met? You see the Breslover, the chaver that are dancing. Forget the guys in the vans. I'm saying bichlal. Breslovers that after a Ma'ariv, they just on a Tuesday in November they start dancing after Ma'ariv, right? Would you send your kids to their institutions and pay money? No, you want someone that looks like he's a Kabbalat Olnik. That's where my money's going to go. Because my kids need to look like that. Like this. That means I have it. That means the load is on. And there's a begam in the mentality, but it's due to 2,000 years of galut. It is. It's due to thousands of years of not knowing any other way. That's all we knew. But the new type of Jew that's come back to Eretz Yisrael, he knows he can't continue like this. Hasimcha, sharei ledato, ledat meaning the yid that's looking at this happy Jew and says this guy's weird. Ledato ol malchut shamayim mashmauto he'eder simcha v'chiyut tivit. He says ol malchut shamayim means dafka like a lack of this inner joy, this inner spark, because it doesn't go together. Hasimcha hina inyan legabav. Simcha isn't, what does it mean when he says, Simcha is like an inyan for this person? What do you think he means?
He's manufacturing it, like he's doing it to do it.
No,
I think it's something you have to deal with.
What's that?
It's something you have to
It's something you have to deal with. It's not, it can't be part of the menu. It's something you have to deal with on the side. Ol nosaf, it's another ol. That's what he says here. Simcha is an ol nosaf, right? Hasaga nisgava, she'alava yizke ba betoch od ma'alot u'madregot. Maybe, look, it'll maybe that's Inyan Simcha, it'll show up that third time around Shas, hopefully, maybe, or after 30 years of Shabbos, or maybe it'll show up then, or I'll have a moment, or something like that. But it's not an Inyan within its, meaning it's not an Inyan mahuti. How do you say mahuti? Essential. It's not an essential concept. It's nice if it happens, and maybe it will, but it probably won't, because you have to worry about Ol Malchut Shamayim. And don't let that interfere with Ol Malchut Shamayim. Okay, you know what he's really saying here, even though he would never label it, this is the galut mindset. Now what's crazy is that there are thousands and thousands of Hasidim that act like this. This is not a misnagdish concept. It's a galut mentality. It's not Hasidut versus Itnagdut, although I firmly believe that it's definitely not what the Baal Shem Tov had in mind, but it's an exiled concept of relating to the concept of Simcha in our lives. Pashut meod.
Right. We have that whole idea like you only have the Shekhinah only resides in like the Dal and Amot Halacha.
Right.
So we see that the Dal and Amot Halacha is what's kept the Jewish people together and existing for 2,000 years of Galut. But it's also just that's your relation. That's your Torah. Your Torah is the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the Mishnah Berurah, or whatever it is. That's your Torah, and you're missing the depths. You're missing the Simcha. You're missing the story element. You're missing the Nevim Ketuvim. That's why there's a lot of elements which bring a lot of Simchat Chayim because they didn't bring us the Shekhinah for those times. So now when we're back in Eretz Yisrael, we have a little more Shekhinah, whatever is going on there. It seems like now we have the luxury to deal with Simchat Chayim again.
We have the luxury to deal with Simchat Chayim again.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way of saying it. We have the luxury, I wouldn't say luxury, I would say the responsibility to deal with Simchat Chayim again. No, but that's the inyan. A responsibility doesn't have to feel heavy in a sad way.
I don't think that those are the words that are right here. It's like sewn into the keeping of the mitzvot. Once upon a time, it was the only way to keep any sort of relationship with God was to put it on your shoulders and bear the ol. So now you have the opportunity to put it on your shoulders and run with the ol, because it's shazum in the simcha.
Okay, let's see how he continues to develop it. I hear what you're saying. Let's see how he can develop it. Hasimcha avuro ke'en pras al ma'asav tovim shlemim. He's saying simcha for the galus Jew is like a prize when you're a good boy. That's what simcha is. It's a prize for when you're a good boy. Yaniach le'atzmo lit'om chedvat chayim. A person will allow himself to taste the joy of life rak im hefik lebor'o yitbarach et tachlit korat haruach b'shlemut. Meaning, I'll allow myself to taste the joy of life only if I know that I did as close to perfect as I could on the scale of how I conduct my life. But if not, then I'm not worthy of simcha. I'm not deserving of simcha, and not just that, I don't even know what simcha is about. I can't know what simcha is about unless I've produced for myself this utopian, how would you say this? Unless I've mamish excelled. Then, not only will I not let myself taste simcha, I don't know what simcha is. Itamar, what were you saying?
When you were saying how I conduct my life, meaning is a direct correlation to if you fall or not, if you do an avera chas or not. That's what you mean by that?
It seems like that's what he's getting to without saying it. Yeah. Meaning, like if you did an avera and you're still working on yourself, like you have no right.
No right.
Or knowledge.
For some reason, us Ashkenazim understand this very well. Right?
Of course.
It's something engraved in our culture.
In our DNA. It's in our DNA of...
We know we have DNA brothers that they're a little happier.
Yeah, no pressure. You're the token Sephardi here today.
I'm Yemenite.
Oh, different. Sorry, לא נחשב. Okay, continue. יש להם את התסבוכות שלהם.
No, I'm not saying perfect or not galut. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the inyan of that the mitzvot make you happy, and it's not that you can say that Sfaradim have that if they take easier halachot. But when they don't feel like that if they're not Shomer Shabbat, they can't be Sameach b'mitzvot. It's something that we culturally design.
It's true, and my studio manager always says this to me because he's a Samech Tet. That's a Sfaradi Tahor. He's like one of these 30,000 generations back Moroccan Yid, right? So he always points that out to me. The difference between me and him, our relationship to our guilt, it plays such a different role in our imun. It's unbelievable. There's this like guilt-ridden rhythm in our relationship with Torah Mitzvot with the Ashkenazim Chaver. It really is like this. I mean, I'm talking pre the 6 million. It's long before. It's chaval. It's time to rid ourselves of it. In the middle of the paragraph, fifth line in the second paragraph. Ach im lo hitzliach לעשות יותר מן המעט מעבר ליכולת גופו וחושיו, if a person hasn't been able to do more than what he thought, than the little that he was able to do, if he wasn't able to do more than what his body and his senses have allowed him to do, v'kal v'chomer, and Itamar, this is what you're saying, all the more so. Im chas v'shalom ira lo shekashal uma'ad, if God forbid he had a kashal, means he failed. Ma'ad means he tripped. We're talking about Averas now. Yimna be'atzmo bekoach et hasimcha. You go to a wedding and you say, I will not be happy here, but I'm here because I RSVP'd that I'm attending. But I will not allow the simcha, I will not allow myself to be with simcha here. V'lo yatir lenafsho et ha'he'ara. You will not allow your nefesh this enlightenment of what simcha, of the role that simcha plays in your life. Now he says, dear, what's the saddest thing about this next paragraph? Etzem metziuto, just the fact that you exist, eina nechshevet be'enav siba lismoach, is not a worthy enough reason for you to be happy. Very deep words, huh? Just the mere fact that I'm alive is not enough of a reason for me to be b'simcha. I'm not talking about gratitude right now. I'm not talking about, did you wake up in the morning and say Moda'ani with Kavanah of Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur? I'm just saying the mere fact of you're alive. He's going to say in a second, you're alive as a Jew. For some reason, that is not enough of a reason for us to be b'simcha. Right or wrong about what you feel. How do you feel about this statement? Often true. Nachon?
But the way he's saying it is that, not that it's the right way to look at it, but the wrong way to look at it, but that if you're looking at simcha as a goal of something that you can attain, or like use the that it's a prize, that it's something that you can then get to, is
right.
The wrong way of looking at it. He's saying I think he's saying it would be better if you looked at it from this is a way of living life, not something that you're trying to get to.
1,000,000%.
But a way of
1,000,000%.
I think that most people look at simcha as something that happens to them.
Right.
Meaning,
correct.
Like, I'm going to do the best I can, and if it so happens that, wow, now I feel happy about it, then I can accept that. But it's not something that I can, like you in the beginning, you said, like, we have kashrut, we have Shabbos, we have all these things. Those are things I have control over. I'm going to eat kosher food, or I'm not going to eat kosher food. Nobody thinks they have control over simcha.
Because it's gold.
Because it's like something that will either happen to me, I'll either feel it or I won't feel it. And it feels, if you feel fake, if you manufacture it.
What does the Canadian optimist have to say about this?
No, I think the opposite. Like if you have a project and you're failing at your project, You don't be, oh, I'm gonna joke around, I'm gonna be happy. No, you gotta buckle down, you gotta focus, and you gotta get more intense. So they view Torah mitzvot as a project. It's like it's
Right, but is that good or bad?
That's the way they feel. I'm saying like that's
I'm gonna ask you
that's
again.
in there. Like
I'm putting you on the stand. Is that good or bad?
according to this, it's not.
I'm much more interested in what you think.
I think that there's lacking if that's. But on the flip side, if Simcha is like your foundation, then sometimes you'll miss your actually accomplishing the tasks
Why?
because you would lose your focus.
Why?
I see the
Because if you're
hefech.
focusing on something, if something requires a lot of focus, it's like you could lose that laser focus. If
But
you're-
why? No,
But it's the
you
opposite
could
of
lose
simcha
it. But
focus.
it's funny to me. Sadness would make me lose the focus
No, I'm not
much
saying to be
much
sad,
faster
I'm
than
saying more
simcha.
focused.
But you're using focus as the opposite of simcha. The opposite
Right.
of
In
simcha
this
would
context,
be
yeah.
sadness.
Because I feel like Chazal, in my limited understanding of Chazal, they equate simcha with like ksil and like batlanut and like being a clown and being the opposite of serious is being a clown and being.
I know, but I listen. I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying, and I know that that's how a lot of people view it. But I think that it's a wrong interpretation of how Chazal used the concepts of the equations of ksil to what it meant. I think that ksil means to be a fool,
Right.
foolishness. Ksil means a fool. But to me, a ksil can easily be much more a result of someone who does not allow simcha to enter his life.
I agree.
Right? So like you could become foolish, and it's not due to this batlanut coming from simcha. It's actually coming from, I think I'm supposed to be so hard on myself. And
I mean, this is my limited understanding, but a lot of times when like simcha is mentioned, it's related to being a ksil or batlan, just in terms of.
but then you have psukim that say like, you know why galus happens to you? Tachat asher lo avat Hashem Elokecha besimcha u'b'tuv levad. It's like, that's what it says in Parashat Ki Tavo, the klalot that come down, the curses. They say, do you know why curses come to you in your life? Because to you, simcha was not a key component of the way that you lived your life. So I think that here he's saying over here, this inyan, we need to redefine simcha. Like we really have to redefine Simchat Chayim, redefine it, because what you said is the way that people really, really felt for thousands of years about the concept of simcha. Why? Because if I'm too happy, I might end up drinking with goyim.
Right.
like that was like a real thing, right? If I'm too happy, I might end up drinking wine with non-Jews. Right?
Maybe use like life as like a serious surgery. You're not going to be happy and
So here
I'm
you're
just
saying,
saying,
no, it's
like-
good what you're saying. This is great.
Not
To
the way
me,
I view it. I'm saying
I view it
this
as a
is the
serious. Are
way-
you kidding me? I view it as the most serious surgery in the world, and I also view that the concept of simcha, if I don't have that in the serious surgery, I'll die.
You can't focus.
I'll die during the surgery. I will die
Not
if simcha is not.
someone who's performing a surgery, not someone whose surgery happened.
No, as
Both.
someone who's, I personally, would you rather have a surgeon working, heart surgeon, open heart surgery, would you rather that surgeon come into the surgery happy and full of simcha, or would you rather that surgeon come in depressed
I just
and
experienced
sad?
it, Baruch Hashem, when I had my procedure.
Yeah.
4 months ago, whatever
Yeah.
it was. On the operating table, jokes were being said to me. As I'm watching a monitor, I was going in, jokes right and left, the energy was unbelievable, and it made all the difference. Like, I'm serious.
I think that the hang
What's
of
that?
things is the
I've
difference
worked with
between
a lot of surgeons,
Yeah.
and I would
lack of
rather the
focus
surgeons
is the
playing
opposite of
music
simcha.
during-
Sorry, I want to hear what Simcha Peretz is
I've
saying.
worked with a lot of surgeons, and I'd rather not on the operating table, worked around them, and I'd rather the surgeon who's playing music and making jokes than the surgeon who wants everybody completely quiet. Because that person may be hyper focused, but they're not the only person in the world.
But does
And to work
Chazal view
around
making
them-
jokes as being
Yeah.
something that's.
I don't think that's the simcha we're speaking about.
But I think
It
that's
depends
what's
in
been
context.
embedded
It's
in
what's
our
been embedded.
understanding.
Nachon.
The definition.
Nachon.
Rabbi comes and says like you're not allowed to start a shiur until you
Make a
so-
joke, right?
Or you have the idea of like Misa Sameach, Misa Ashila, Sameach
Right.
Mechelko. So you're right. There's like there is the other, the person who's drunk and dancing on the table, but I don't think anybody's talking about that. Like the difficulty here is that if somebody were to tell me this is your lot, whatever it is, go to that room and there's board games and you hate board games, you don't play basketball, and somebody says find Simchat in these rules, and so you sit down and you want to play basketball, so you're constantly focused on what you don't have, and then so you can't actually enjoy the board game. So maybe it would be a nice experience, and that's kind of like what Torah and Mitzvah are saying. Like this is left, this is right, these are the borders. You have to fit within this space. Now within that space, you have to be happy. And that's the difficulty, because I think that we have the Galut mentality, and we also have the Hollywood mentality that says Simcha is only when you get exactly what it is that you want, right? And so we're so stuck in that, so we say, okay, so the only way to find Simcha is to be drunk on the table, or whatever it is. And so
Which is also wrong.
which is also wrong. So we're stuck no matter what, but and the Torah is a limitation, and it's a way. It's don't go left, it's don't go right, it's a knife's edge. And so therefore to be happy while tiptoeing on the knife's edge, it doesn't sit well with our modern mentality.
I would say not just our modern mentality, with our
Galut mentality.
right.
Well, that's part of the modern mentality.
Yeah,
Understand this is like a revolutionary type of idea, because for today's time, because the fact of the matter is the guys that got us here, meaning the Rabbanim, the Gaon of Vilna, Lakewood, Europe, like these guys are serious dudes. You know, like they're just serious. You know, they're not. This isn't what they're talking about, and so you can look to them and you can take a look at just like the serious and the cutting and the piercing eyes and that whole like trembling bit, and which is not something that we so much really like connect to, but they did get us to this point. Now we are coming up new and Rav Avraham, these guys smile and people are like happy and it's okay to dance and we can talk about Simchat. Like that's the new age tzaddik. Like
I know what you're saying, but
which
I grew up
might
with
be
the
true.
Rav.
I don't know. It might be this gullus. Whoa, wait a second. Let's just
I
like
think
you know
you'd be
those
surprised.
serious guys got us.
I think you'd be surprised. I had a very serious Rav in my hometown of Monroe, Lakewood, Rabbi
Yeah.
Shalom. Very serious. I mean, learned jokes nonstop. And he was like the epitome of Lakewood. So I think we'd be surprised actually how much.
You think some
how
of the
humor-
You're saying they have
I think
real
humor,
simcha.
humor was involved.
The truth is, one time I gave a shiur once in a shul in Jamaica Estates in Queens, and it was about I asked like those people. I said, I know many of you are sending your children next year to the gap year to Eretz Yisrael. Back then, I think it was like $18,000 a year. Today, I think it's what's that? $25,000 a year. So I said, let me ask you, Shaila. You know, these people come for the week. They go around high schools and they offer their seminary or their yeshiva, and you know, parents have to decide also where they're going to send their kids to Israel and send them there and pay all this money. I said, I'm going to ask you with all sincerity, would you send your kids to a place where a guy that comes to showcase his yeshiva, he first does a dance with the student and looks like this? Or would you feel more comfortable putting your money at a place that someone's going to look like this and just say about how we're very serious and we really produce, strong, right? So after the shiur, the Rav in the shul, he came up to me and he said to me, he looked very sour while I was talking. Later I found out it was just his look. It had nothing to do with me. How did I find out? Because he wrote an article in this magazine about a year later that someone sent me, and the article was about that statement that I said in the shiur, and how it's a wake-up call to us to how we perceive the concept of what simcha is. That simcha shouldn't be that threatening when people look like they're b'simcha, but at the same time to remember that the Lakewood Rabbanim of the world that look very serious do have simcha. Not to think that it's dependent on...
Why do we think that they skipped over this galut mentality? I mean,
Who?
the Rabbanim. They were in the
I don't know, what are you saying? I want to understand what you're saying.
We tried to say that all these Rabbanim had Simcha. La dafka. And they were, yes, this is the mentality.
No. We're not puzzling. We're saying it could be they had. That's the point of view. Like, don't just say that you have to.
They don't smile so much. Or
Right, meaning exactly that might not be your nature, but who knows? Maybe like they do have Simchas Chaim. That's what we're saying.
Because that's a
Nachon?
prerequisite for Torah.
Nachon? Because he's not going to come and puzzle now all the Rabbeim that don't dance around and smile all the time. I think that's what we were going to. He's saying they must have Simchas Chaim in their life because they were an amud tavech, they were a pillar to get us to here.
Perhaps
They
in
must
this
have had.
generation we have to take it to another one.
So this is what he's speaking about. Now he's saying we're back in Eretz Yisrael, where the Simchat Chayim has room to be expressed in a more, outward notion. We're back in Eretz Yisrael.
Just like on a practical side, like so when we were in Meron, and then I was guiding the next day, and I was in Tel Aviv, and I was just really I just felt down. Just like really, I'm like I need a little bit of a pick me up. So they always say like you at least do a little dance, And I was walking by myself back towards my car, and so I just started to do like a little this and that, like I just like a little twist, a 360. One little thing it took me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I start smiling, and I look up and I see a whole bus stop of people waiting that saw me do this. And it was 95 degrees, but they all smiled. They all smiled,
Wow.
and I said, immediately, like not only was I like in a better mood, but like so were they. They all looked up in a better mood. So
Something, right?
I want to go that, I want to just add to what you were saying, and actually go against you.
Beautiful.
But totally the opposite. From a limud that we got from Rabbeinu Kobe, right? So when Kobe dropped 81.
From who?
Rabbeinu Kobe.
He's not talking about Tanzer.
No.
Yes.
When Kobe dropped 81, right? He didn't smile the entire game, right? But if you ask him afterwards what was like his peak happiest moments, he would tell you the performance in that game where he felt like absolute focus. And I was trying to be a little bit about these Rabbanim through these generations that had to deal with no Eretz Yisrael, 6 million, all the things that they had to deal with.
For sure.
They're in peak focus right now. They're trying to put everything back together as things are just crumbling. And I'm sure that the Simcha was in the laser focus, is kind of what you're bringing in here. And that's the definition of a peak performance, is that it's almost difficult beyond what you can handle, but you're still doing it, and you're super focused. And then when you can relax for a second, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that you did that. But I think that for these Rabbanim, through these generations, maybe that's what their approach was. They're doing everything they can to keep Judaism alive while there's no Beit HaMikdash.
Our job is not to, I agree with you, our job is to never look at them and be like, they thought to have any kind of derogatory comment about the way that they did anything.
But their demeanor was definitely not like
the demeanor was more that. But now we're speaking about the Yid that's in Eretz Yisrael in 2019. And now we're saying, sorry, you can't just keep on thinking that you're supposed to tuck in this concept or think that that it's not supposed to be a way of life, and still view it as something that is this term called Simcha is, if I did really good and I went a bit above beyond my nature, then I'm worthy. It's not a matter of being worthy. It's an essential part of Avodat Hashem. We have to take that word. Simcha is not a concept of worth or not. What's worth? What would we view as something that if we're worthy for it or not? Maybe prophecy or Ruach HaKodesh or Beis HaMikdash maybe. But Simcha, it's not this if I did enough, then worthy of it. I can't get to any of those big things without Simcha. But he stopped us and said, do you wake up in the morning with just like a look at the reality of your life and Simcha plays a role in it? No, because you didn't do anything yet, so why should we be with Simcha? You didn't get the shul yet. You didn't do Negel Vaser yet. You didn't do a mitzvah which would result in okay, cha-ching, here, bank. You say that's how we still think. That's how we still think, and we're getting out of it. Yeah.
You asked in the beginning what about the other mitzvot. You know, we talked about Shabbos, we talked about other mitzvot.
Yeah.
And do we treat it the same as Simchat? I think that they're not a feeling that you can. They aren't similar enough to Simchat. But if you take Yira, I don't know that anybody would say that you have to do a mitzvah in order to in the morning you have to say something in the morning in order to then have Yira.
Correct. Why is that? You're right. Why is that?
Because we don't look at Yira as a reward. but I think they're more similar. That if we were looking at Simcha the way we were looking at Yira of this is something that we need to go through life and have and apply to everything that we're doing, then it's very for me it's somewhat easy to come to Ne'ilah and Yom Kippur and have Yira because you know that you're supposed to have it then.
You've been here for Ne'ilah and Yom Kippur, right? Yira or Simcha?
I think that we live in a unique place, that not every.
I'm not talking
Some
about.
people have a time on that though, but that's.
I'm not talking about anything else other than what you. I don't care
think
what
it's
other
both.
tainas are.
Yeah,
What do you think?
You have to.
Okay, so when you started this year, what do you take seriously? I was going to say Yom Kippur. I was like, well, actually, the last couple of years, it's more Simcha. But
It's so funny because to me that means I'm actually taking it seriously. What you just said proves exactly this whole shir. It's exactly the point. If you were about to say Yom Kippur, but you refrained from it because Yom Kippur has had more of a simcha vibe to it, we're there already. We're there already. We are there already. Sim Shalom Tov Avracha. What do we do here for Sim Shalom in Tfilat Ne'ilah? Sim Shalom Tov Avracha. Chayim Chayim. Do you believe Hashem forgave you or not? If not, you'll just send the Sim Shalom Tov Avracha.
some guy came up afterwards and said, you're not the day on to be so so happy. I'm just telling
I know. It's true that when the judge says, I'm forgiving you for everything you ever did, that is a reason to be sad. You're right. It's okay. We have a lot more work to do. But do you realize how absurd that statement is?
Again, logically, you're absolutely right. That's how I feel. But again, these guys are putting their time in on the books, and the jury's still out. It makes sense what you're talking about, but the jury's still out as to whether this whole experiment is gonna work the way that we're hoping that it will work. That it's really, just because again, these guys, because obviously there's a mix, there's a balance, and the simcha has to, but they've gotten us until this point, and they're doing a lot of things that meaning.
I don't even know who you're saying those guys anymore. I don't even know. I lost it. I lost the trend.
Let's say the Brisker Ruff. I'm thinking of guys like that.
I bet you he was filled with simcha.
Uh-huh.
I bet you he was filled with simcha. 1,000,000%. It's not the way that maybe you and I understand simcha. It has to be that he was filled with simcha. Has to be.
Right, we can't just define simcha by our understanding of it's a smile, it's a dance, it's a good nigun. Simcha doesn't have to come out.
Correct.
And
It had
People
for
like
sure.
board games.
Some people like board games.
If you're stuck in that little board game, some people like board games. It's not that we have to have the simcha in the same way that the Brisker Ruff had simcha.
I'm very listen.
Who's appalled at the Sim Shalom? Is there something off on that? A guy that comes
It's
to
not.
Daven
It's
and
not my inyan to say about him that he's appalled. It's about how I relate to the Sim Shalom. I'm not worried about him. Especially on Yom Kippur, I'm worried about me.
Okay.
Look, I'm very lucky because I grew up with a father that you, Baruch Hashem, now all know, and he has Simchas Chayim. He just does. Right? Something I've been jealous of my whole life. When I say, I want to be like your father, it's that inyan, that nekuda. What I've seen my father do in shul, where it's supposed to be serious, which he knows how to be serious, his Simchat Chayim is contagious. It's contagious. It mamash is a medabek. You get stricken from it. You do. That's the tikkun of those that say you're supposed to be, only somber and depressed to show your seriousness. No. Now for 2,000 years, that's all I had to work with. I didn't have anything else to work with. But now it's a different world. Now it's a different world. You see, 2,000 years, I wake up in the morning. Was there enough of a reason for me to be simcha that I'm a Jew? Not so much, because I'd probably either be killed or one of my relatives would be killed by 2 p.m. So, why would I be killed or my relative would be killed? Because I'm a Jew. So but we're in the world of redemption now, hopefully. And in that world, I have more of the ability to have access to the things that really should bring out the natural simcha in my life. That is what it means to be back here. That's what it means to live my life here. That is called Geula, and that's called Binyan HaMikdash. That's how we began today's shir.
It's like the Yaakov call from 2 years ago, or last year?
Yep.
3 years ago? 2 years ago.
Which one? Yeah.
The difference between Talmud Bavli and Yerushalmi.
Absolutely. Remember, there was one very important nakuda there. The Bavli way of learning, the Gemara Bavli is, how do you get to a resolution? Or how do you come to psak in Bavli? Like, how does a Bavli written? Machlokets, Shakla V'Taya. The Yerushalmi, which is the redemptive world, what is it? And that's why people don't learn Yerushalmi, because they don't know how to deal with it. How do you get to like the psak in Yerushalmi? This is it. It's not a result of back and forth of, butting heads. It's a very interesting thing.
But if you say that
Mother?
It's funny that Yerushalmis in Yerushalayim, the Yerushalmis,
because they're the
they're very, very sick. Like they're probably the most machmir people in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
And they're funniest people in Yerushalayim also. Yerushalmis, it's all,
it's true.
All the life is a joke. It's just one
but they are very, it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop here, boys. We'll continue. Give me the pages back. We'll continue hearing next time. Yeshar Koyach. Shkoyach.
I'll tell you a story about the verse where the road the whole day at a Polish maid who was singing in the kitchen. And one of the boys got up to shut up, like you should.
Right.
This is the only simcha she has in her family. You let her sing.
Right. There's like a story of Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchever where someone he was walking this Chassidim and someone spat at him. Remember that story? Someone spat in his face. And he continued walking. What's the story? Which one? Rabbi Berditchever, someone came and spat at him.
Yeah.
So I think I said it to the women in the women's trip to Ukraine. So he said, the Chassidim they're like, Rabbi, come on. Like, we get the whole holiness thing, but
They wanted to like fight the guy.
Yeah, they wanted to rip him. He's like, well, guys, there's a limit, right? So he says, they said, how could it be that you didn't? He's like, listen. I could see this year, he has no simcha from his own Shabbos table. He has no simcha from his own family. He probably has no simcha from his own wife. The only simcha he has is to spit at me, and that I'm going to take away from him.
It's a hard pill to swallow when we talk about like, what you just said about how like, okay, 2,000 years ago,